This will disturb you. You may not sleep tonight.
The University of Georgia was able to carbon date resin from the BUGA Sphäre, and it was dated at 12,560 years old.
March 17th, 2025. BUGA, Colombia, 2:47 p.m. A metallic sphere tears through power lines and slams into a farmer's field. The impact should have shattered it, should have left dents, cracks, something. But when investigators arrive, they find perfection. A flawless orb. No seams, no welds, no joints, just smooth metal that shouldn't exist. And carved into its surface, symbols that make linguists step back and shake their heads. These aren't hieroglyphs. They're not cuneiform. They're not anything we've seen before. For months, the sphere sat in labs while scientists threw everything at it. X-rays revealed 3 concentric shells nested inside each other like Russian dolls. 9 microspheres floating between the layers. A tiny chip at its core that defies every attempt to identify it. Then someone had an idea that changed everything. What if we stopped thinking like humans? What if we let quantum AI take a shot? See, quantum computers don't think in ones and zeros like your laptop. They think in probabilities, in superpositions, in patterns that exist everywhere at once until they collapse into an answer. And when researchers at MIT's quantum lab fed those mysterious engravings into their newest system, something impossible happened. The symbols weren't random. They were equations. Not just any equations. These patterns match the fundamental constants of our universe. The fine structure constant that holds atoms together. The golden ratio that nature uses to build everything from galaxies to seashells. Mathematical blueprints that shouldn't be carved into a sphere that crashed in Colombia. This isn't science fiction anymore. This is happening right now. Quantum AI didn't just decode symbols. It revealed something that makes physicists uncomfortable. Something that suggests whoever made this sphere understood reality at a level we're only beginning to glimpse. We're about to show you what that code really says, and why some researchers are calling it the most important discovery in human history. According to sources inside MIT's quantum research lab, the breakthrough came at 3 a.m. on a Tuesday. They'd been stuck for weeks. Classical computers kept finding nothing. Pattern recognition software failed. Even neural networks trained on every ancient language came up empty. Then, someone suggested something radical. Feed the symbols into IBM's Condor processor. Link it with Google's Sycamore quantum cloud. Let these machines think in ways we can't. Here's what makes quantum different. Your laptop checks passwords one at a time. A quantum computer? It checks billions simultaneously. It exists in every possibility until it collapses on the right answer. Think of it like this. You're looking for one specific grain of sand on a beach. Classical computing picks up each grain, examines it, sets it down. Quantum computing becomes the entire beach at once, then instantly knows which grain you want. The sphere's glyphs went into the quantum lattice at midnight. 3 hours later, patterns emerged. Not random patterns. Mathematical constants. The first sequence matched Planck's constant down to 15 decimal places. That's the smallest possible unit of energy in our universe. The number that defines quantum mechanics itself. The second sequence? Golden ratio spirals. The same mathematical pattern in hurricanes, galaxies, and DNA helixes. Nature's favorite number, carved into alien metal. Imagine if your phone could try every password at the same time. That's the speed we're talking about. This isn't tomorrow's technology. IBM and Google are running these systems today, right now. And they just cracked a code that shouldn't exist. For 72 hours straight, the quantum processors churned through possibilities. Each layer of symbols revealed new constants. The speed of light, the gravitational constant, numbers that hold reality together. The sphere wasn't speaking in words. It was speaking in the language of the universe itself. But here's where it gets uncomfortable for scientists. These aren't approximations. They're exact, more precise than our best measurements. Whoever made this sphere knew physics better than we do. But the ratios were just the appetizer. The real meal was hiding in the deeper code. The second layer of symbols changed everything. When the quantum AI mapped these patterns, they weren't numbers anymore. They were frequencies. Resonance patterns that made the research team stop and stare, because they'd seen these patterns before. LIGO detected them in 2015. Gravitational waves from colliding black holes. The The sphere's engravings match the frequency signatures perfectly. Not similar, identical. How does a metal ball in Columbia contain the sound of black holes colliding a billion years ago? But wait, layer 3 got weirder. The patterns shifted into orbital resonances. Jupiter's moons dancing in perfect mathematical harmony. Saturn's rings maintaining their gaps through gravitational music. Even exoplanets we discovered last year, their orbital ratios carved into this sphere. Some physicists are calling it a cosmic Rosetta Stone. Others think it's more. Dr. Sarah Chen from Caltech put it bluntly. If you wanted to store the operating system of space-time, this is how you do it. Think about what that means. Not a message, not instructions, the actual mathematical architecture that makes reality work. The source code of existence, compressed into symbols on a metal sphere, that's not technology. That's approaching something theological. We build computers that process information. This sphere might be information, pure math made physical. The simulation results sent chills through the lab. When they modeled how the 3 shells would interact with those frequencies, the sphere didn't behave like an object. It behaved like a resonance amplifier, a cosmic tuning fork. Feed it the right frequency, and it would sing back the structure of space itself. Before we reveal what happened when they actually tried that, hit subscribe, because what we're about to show you has never been publicly discussed. And trust me, you'll want to hear what sound came out. Every physicist knows Einstein's quote, "God doesn't play dice with the universe." Well, maybe God doesn't need dice when the rules are already written. And maybe, just maybe, we're looking at the rulebook. Because when the team activated the resonance test, the sphere didn't just respond. It did something that violated 3 laws of physics. The quantum simulations revealed something nobody expected. Those 3 nested shells, they're not just sitting there. In the computer model, they create a field, an electromagnetic bubble that bends light around itself. DARPA's been working on this since 2018. MIT calls it metamaterial cloaking. Make an object invisible by routing photons around it like water around a stone. But the sphere's design is decades ahead. When researchers modeled how electromagnetic waves would interact with those aluminum layers, the results were bizarre. Light didn't just bend, it spiraled, created interference patterns that shouldn't exist with known materials. Dr. Michael Torres from MIT's Materials Lab ran the simulation 12 times. Same result every time. The layering acts like a photonic processor. It's computing with light itself. Now, those 9 microspheres floating between the shells? In simulation, they're not random. They're positioned at precise mathematical intervals. Golden ratio spacing, Fibonacci sequence alignment. Feed the model a frequency, any frequency, and the microspheres resonate, not randomly. They create standing waves that amplify specific harmonics, like a quantum tuning fork that remembers every note it's ever heard. Remember those viral videos about Sanskrit chants making the sphere vibrate? The simulation says it's possible. Not magic, physics. Certain frequencies would create resonance cascades through the nested structure. The sphere becomes a receiver, a transmitter, maybe both. We're not saying it's alien technology, but imagine a hard drive that doesn't store files. It stores fields, magnetic fields, gravitational signatures, electric patterns. That's what these simulations suggest this thing could do. The most unsettling simulation came from Caltech. They modeled what would happen if you fed the sphere its own encoded frequencies. The ones carved on its surface, the virtual sphere didn't just resonate. It generated a localized space-time distortion, tiny, microscopic, but measurable. That's not supposed to be possible with aluminum and microspheres. Halfway through our investigation, and we've barely scratched the surface. The sphere isn't just an object. It might be a key, a tuning fork for reality, a data capsule that stores physics instead of pictures. But next, we'll show you why some researchers think those symbols aren't just equations. They're coordinates. A star map pointing to places humanity has never been. The breakthrough came when someone stopped looking at the symbols as language. Dr. Lisa Park from Harvard's astrophysics department tried something different. She overlaid the glyph patterns onto star maps. Not Earth's night sky, deep space, Andromeda, the Magellanic Clouds, globular clusters older than our Sunday. The match was instant. 3 symbol sequences aligned perfectly with radio burst sources. FRB 202-20319 FRB 20210807, coordinates marking the loudest cosmic screams we've ever detected. But here's what made everyone nervous. One pattern matched a source we haven't cataloged yet, a position in space where nothing visible exists, just empty darkness between Andromeda and Triangulum. The quantum AI suggests it's not empty. Something's there, waiting. Think about what we did with Voyager's golden record. We carved our address into metal. Music, math, DNA sequences. This is humanity. This is where we live. What if this sphere is the same thing? Not from here, from there. A probe carrying not just information but navigation. The ultimate message in a bottle, with a return address written in gravitational frequencies. Look at this overlay on your screen. These aren't letters, they're positions, stellar coordinates, galactic GPS. But not for Earth navigation. This is deep space positioning, places our telescopes barely reach. The patterns even mark pulsars, nature's most precise clocks. Navigate by pulsars, and you can find your way across a galaxy. Any civilization advanced enough to build this would know that. Jose Velasquez, the lead investigator, said something that stuck with everyone. We keep looking for radio signals from aliens. What if they don't use radio? What if they send spheres? Voyager will drift for 40,000 years before it reaches another star. This sphere made it here, intact, functional, still broadcasting its code to anyone smart enough to decode it. The ancient parallel is haunting. Egyptian priests wrote about eggs of the gods falling from heaven. Sumerian texts describe divine spheres, containing the knowledge of creation. Were they describing objects like this? And if there's one sphere, logic says there should be more. The rumors started last month. A collector in Japan claims to have a smaller orb, similar symbols, different patterns. No one's confirming it yet. But whispers from inside NASA suggest they're taking it seriously. Very seriously. Because if these spheres are probes, they're not random. They're targeted. And Earth wasn't found by accident. The whispers started in underground collector forums. Tokyo, July 2025. A private auction house allegedly cataloged a second sphere, smaller, 8 inches diameter instead of 12. Different symbols but the same impossible construction. The collector won't go public, but leaked photos show familiar patterns. Nested shells, no seams, engravings that hurt to look at because your brain knows they shouldn't exist. Here's why this matters. If there's two, there's probably more. And if they're scattered across Earth, someone or something placed them deliberately. Think about what these spheres could contain. Not just messages, technologies, physics we haven't discovered. The kind of knowledge that jumps civilizations forward by centuries. Dr. Chen from Caltech spelled it out. The standard model of physics has holes: dark matter, dark energy, quantum gravity. These spheres might contain the missing pieces. Imagine unlocking even 10% of this. Energy grids that pull power from quantum vacuum fluctuations, propulsion that bends space instead of burning fuel, medical scanners that see probability waves, not just tissue. This isn't fantasy. The math on the sphere already showed us constants more precise than our best equipment can measure. Think about this. Really think about it. If we could decode even a fraction of this technology, everything changes. Energy crisis? Gone. Space travel? Revolutionized. Medical imaging that sees disease before symptoms appear? Possible. That's why scientists are being so careful, and why they're also terrified of missing something huge. The weight anomaly alone breaks our understanding. 16 pounds became 22 pounds. No material absorbed, no chemical reaction, just mass appearing from nowhere. One theory? The sphere interfaces with zero-point energy fields, literally pulling weight from quantum foam. If that's true, we're not looking at a message. We're looking at a device that taps into the fundamental machinery of space-time. This isn't just some mystery in a Columbian field anymore. This could be humanity's first contact with Type 2 civilization technology, the kind that harnesses entire stars. But before you think we're making this up, let's strip away speculation. Let's show you exactly what we know for certain about this sphere. March 17th, 2025. BUGA, Colombia. Power lines snap. A metallic object plummets into Juan Velasco's field. When he approaches, the grass is dead for 30 feet in every direction. not burned, desiccated. Like something sucked every drop of moisture out. The sphere measures 30 centimeters across, 12 inches of impossibility. X-ray analysis confirmed by 3 independent labs. 3 concentric aluminum shells, 95% pure. The remaining 5%? Trace elements that don't match any standard alloy. Between the shells, 9 microspheres float in perfect suspension. No wires, no magnets. They just hang there. At the dead center, a chip. Maybe silicon, maybe something else. Too small to extract without destroying the whole structure. The weight measurements came from different scales on different days. Day 1, 16 pounds. Day 7, 20 pounds. Day 14, 22 pounds. No explanation. Physics says mass doesn't just appear. The sphere says physics is wrong. Jose Velasquez leads the Mexican investigation team. He's handled meteorites for 20 years. His quote, "I've never seen anything like this, ever." Julia Mossbridge from UC San Diego wants Harvard's Galileo project involved. She's not saying it's alien, she's saying it needs serious study. Real science, not YouTube speculation. The Sanskrit chant videos, still unverified. But the Colombian farmer swears the sphere hummed when his daughter sang near it. Frequency 432 hertzes, the same frequency some musicians call cosmic. Think of it like this. You find a smartphone case with no phone inside, except the case can bend light, generate fields, and gains weight by itself. That's our reality now. Mexican scientists have the sphere. NASA requested samples. 3 universities want to study it. Everyone's being careful, because if this is real technology, whoever understands it first changes the world. Or maybe the world's already changing. We just found the instruction manual. So where does that leave humanity? Standing at the edge of the biggest discovery in history? Or chasing shadows and coincidence? Let's step back and look at what we're really dealing with here. A metal sphere crashes in Colombia. No seams, no welds. 3 impossible shells that shouldn't exist. It gains weight without adding mass. 16 pounds becomes 22 pounds. Physics can't explain it. Dead vegetation for 30 feet. No radiation, no chemicals, just complete cellular dehydration in a perfect circle. Symbols that no human language expert can read. Patterns that don't match any alphabet we've ever created. Then quantum AI cracks the code, and everything changes. The engravings aren't words. They're universal constants. Planck's constant, the golden ratio, the fine structure constant that holds atoms together. Precision beyond our best measurements. Deeper layers reveal gravitational wave signatures. Black holes colliding, pulsars spinning, coordinates pointing to empty space where something might be waiting. The simulation says it's a resonance amplifier, a device that could bend electromagnetic fields, store gravitational signatures, interface with space-time itself. Quantum AI has revealed something that looks godlike, not because it's divine, but because it contains the operating manual for reality, the mathematical blueprints that build galaxies, the frequencies that collapse probability into matter, the deepest code of existence, carved into metal we can't reproduce. Think about what this means. Either someone on Earth built an impossible object with fake alien writing as the most elaborate hoax in history, or we're holding proof that we're not alone. And whoever's out there understands physics at a level that makes our science look like cave paintings. Jose Velasquez has studied space rocks for decades. He says this isn't natural. Julia Mossbridge from UC San Diego wants every test possible. She knows the implications. NASA requested samples but won't say why. 3 universities are fighting for access. And somewhere in Japan, a second sphere might be sitting in a vault, waiting. Is this a probe checking if Earth has intelligent life? The fact we decoded it might be the test. Is it a data capsule? A gift of knowledge from a civilization trying to uplift others? Or is it something else? A beacon, a key, a warning. The quantum computers gave us the what? Universal constants, gravitational signatures, cosmic coordinates, but they can't tell us why. Why Earth? Why now? Why encode reality's source code in a sphere? What do you think this really is? Comment below.